Thank you. Yes, we are talking about Coinbase today. Yes, I did call that yesterday. No, I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. I built this wagon yesterday, and we're going to keep riding it. Thank you for the applause on that. I appreciate that. Coinbase has a bunch of customers that got ghost charges on their card. We learned about that from listener Fat Sacks, right? Fat Sacks told us about that. He's like, hey, what the hell's going on here? Next thing you know, other people are chiming in saying, whoa, wait a minute, I got charges on my card too. And then we had a brand new listener, Dave, who chimed in, and he says, thanks. Listen to Pete's podcast today. This is on the Telegram. This is the community where we all come together and we do market research together. He says, listen to Pete's podcast today, so I just decided, kind of out of the blue, I decided to check my bank account. Sure enough, Coinbase overcharged me twice for $550. Once on February 12th and the other on the 15th. And I called and they said that it should resolve itself. And then I got a sorry for the inconvenience email blaming the system. All right, now this is where it gets deep. Now this is important. All right, I'm not just trying to do a sensational podcast here, a podcast that invokes emotion and therefore loyalty and bigger numbers. No, this is important. Very important. Okay. Coinbase dings a bunch of their own customers' cards. All right. Now that by itself that's manageable. All right. You screwed up. Right? Everybody screws up. Everybody screws up with money. Right. Everybody does. Like this is something that's intrinsic to the human experience, right? And therefore, like when you do that, like that you can apologize because everybody understands, like, oh, okay, like we're all human here, right? And you're gonna have some outliers where people just can't handle whatever happened, but for the most part, like when you screw up, even at a level like that where you're moving billions of dollars, when you screw up, you come out and you take it on the chin and you just say, look, I'm sorry, all right? We're kind of new at this because cryptocurrencies are new. Therefore, we are new. We are newer than cryptocurrencies. We haven't been in business very long. We screwed up. I'm sorry. But here is what we are going to do to make sure, number one, that this never happens again. And number two, that you will be made whole in an acceptable frame of time. Oh, if Coinbase had only done that. But no, they did not. Now, before I get into what Coinbase actually did, I would like to point out that on December 22nd, I did a video, and I believe a bit of a podcast, but I did a video on YouTube titled The Coinbase Kerfuffle, and I did a video there was some allegations about Coinbase that there was some insider trading going on when they introduced Bitcoin Cash. Okay, now again, sometimes these phrases we see things in the news or you hear it on this podcast or whatever, but sometimes these phrases come at us and they just seem like, oh, okay, that's just a normal phrase, whatever, pay no attention. But Coinbase was there were some people there that were. It was alleged that they were practicing what's called insider trading. Now, I want to make sure that this is I drive this point home. The two most regulated things in the United States are money and anything having to do with the medical practice, like your medical records and the shipping of different pharmaceutical medications and drugs and that sort of thing. Like, so that's all very heavily regulated. Okay, money though. Money's the big one. And when IT is brought up, insider trading, if somebody levels that charge at you, oh boy, you're in a lot of trouble, even if you didn't do it. Right? Even if you didn't do it, you are going to spend a long time and a lot of money in court. Right? Because that's a very serious, that's like, money is so regulated. If somebody puts insider trading on you, that's just a smidge below treason. You know what I mean? Like, treason's the big one. Screwing around with other people's money and cheating with money on a broad scale, that's that's a beehive. And on December 21st, it was alleged that Coinbase, some of the people there, had called up some of their friends and said, hey, we're going to be trading Bitcoin Cash like tomorrow or next week. You should buy some. I'm going to drive over to your house. I'm going to give you a stack of paper currency. I need you to go put that in your bank and then buy these coins on my behalf because I can't have my name attached to it because of insider trading laws, right? That's what was alleged. And I had made the point in that video like, oh, no, this is far from over. Like, this will go away in the news, but this is far from over for those people. Right now, those people are embroiled in just chin deep in legal fees and legal actions and all that. Like, that's not going to be over for those people for years. That's a big, big charge. So the fact that charge is associated with Coinbase, that's a black eye. That is a mark on the face of that company, and that's a big company. You can't have that on your resume. Now, moving forward, so Coinbase had that big screw up in December, late December. We're still going to see, resolution on that. You probably won't see it in the news because that's, there's nothing clickbaity about it. Some guy will go to jail or somebody will be exonerated or whatever. Who knows? Whatever happens, it probably won't be in the news because it's not sexy. It's not a truck on fire, right? The truck on fire is Coinbase having allegations put on them that they were practicing insider trading, right? Before I get into what Coinbase said, it's important that I lay down this foundation so that everybody understands this, of why what happened over the last couple of days is significant. When you are a merchant, right, you have merchant services. Like if you're in America, you have your favorite convenience store that you go to. If you're in the Midwest, it's Quick Trip, QT, which by the way is just an absolute pleasure to get whatever you're. It's like a restaurant, but it's a it's a really good place. But if you're in the South, it's Circle K. If you're on the West Coast, it's 7-Eleven. If you're on the East Coast, I don't know what you guys have on the East Coast, but we all have a convenience store that we get our gasoline and our chewing gum or our soda pop, whatever. You know what I mean? We have those places that we go regularly. Well, those companies have merchant service accounts with all of the major card companies: Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover. Sometimes not Discover, but certainly Visa and MasterCard, right? Because people don't walk around with their daily needs in cash anymore because it's dangerous. You could get robbed. You could lose your wallet. You could, like, you could be in a car accident. Like, there's a million different things that could happen that will justify you not walking around with large amounts of cash to take care of your daily needs, right? We use cards. And so those companies, those Circle K, 7-Eleven, Quick Trip, like all those companies, they have to have merchant services with Visa. And they pay a lot of money for that service. And the more customers they have, the more money they have to pay to Visa to keep Visa facilitating the transfer of those monies. You go in and swipe your card at Quick Trip or 7-Eleven, like, they don't get any cash for that. You're just swiping a piece of plastic. But then, that code that goes through when you swipe that card, that goes to Visa, and that tells Visa that they have to pay 7-Eleven, right? Now, Visa is not on the side of the merchant. Visa's on your side. You have that Visa card, your name is right next to Visa's name. So the two of you are in a business relationship. The merchant, on the other hand, if there is a bad guy in that scenario, it's the merchant, right? Visa does not back the merchant. Those fees that they charge the merchant to process those fees, you know what those fees are for? Chargebacks, right? If you call it, like if you have an erroneous charge on your card that says Visa on it, you call Visa and you say, hey, this is an erroneous charge. Guess what? Visa says, thank you, valued customer, for bringing this to our attention. You will have that money back in no less than 24 hours, but it'll probably be more like a half an hour, right? They give you your money back. You know where they get that money? Merchant service accounts. The money that the merchants pay to do business with Visa. And Visa has your back. You know what I mean? Now, normally, it's not a big deal, right? If you have erroneous charges, it's, you bought something and then they accidentally double charged you, and it's real simple. Usually you can just call the merchant and they'll contact Visa and reverse it. But, for the most part, it's not a big deal. And therefore, the big credit company, Visa, MasterCard, I'm not going to say all their names. When I say Visa, just think Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Visa, when there's a screw up and Visa gives you your money back, Visa doesn't care what the merchant says, because they process so many actions every day. They process so many transactions that if you call in and complain about a charge, Visa is not going to say anything about the merchant because they don't have time for that, and it's insignificant. That being said, if Visa ever speaks out, it's a big deal, because they don't do that. They never do that unless it's a big effing deal. Now, what happened? Going back to December, insider trading. Coming back to the last couple of days and the chats that we were having over the weekend on the Telegram. By the way, the Telegram link is in the show notes. Go and join us on Telegram. Come over into the conversation, because already these conversations have made this whole experience more efficient for all of us. Right? We're all learning a bunch of really good stuff. And like listener Dave wrote in, he's like, hey, wait a minute. I heard you guys talking about that on the podcast. I went and checked my account. Bang, sure enough, $550. That's a lot of money to not know where it went. Right? It is not a life-altering sum of money, but you better believe that if all of a sudden somebody steals $500 from you, that'll keep you up at night trying to figure out what happened. And so, if you're listening and maybe you're new, maybe you haven't joined us on Twitter or anything, come over to the Telegram. It's good things are happening over there. Over the weekend, we were talking to, one of our listeners, Fat Sacks, he writes in, he says, hey, wait a minute, man, Coinbase dinged my account for $1,000. And so we started talking about that yesterday. And sure enough, a couple, many hours later, Cryptocurrency News comes out with a couple of articles, and we find out what happened. And here's what happened. Coinbase comes out and says, hey, everybody, you know what? This wasn't our fault. This was Visa's fault. And you need to contact them so that they'll fix it. Right? Big mistake. Big mistake. Just keep in mind, Coinbase is not, your local steakhouse. Coinbase is moving billions of dollars on a regular basis, and most of it is going through Visa, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. Most of that money is going through Visa. So what should have happened here, and this goes back to this is where it gets metaphysical. You understand what I'm saying? I get the sense that sometimes people roll their eyes, but it's no. This is practical. This is practical metaphysics. It's easy, right? They screwed up, which is fine. Everybody screws up. They screwed up, and they, instead of coming to you, dear customer, hey, listen, we're kind of new at this, as I'm sure you are new at this, because we all know that cryptocurrencies are new. It is a new development in the evolution of human society. It's new. None of us really knows what we're doing, right? We've hired the right people, but come on. Sorry about that. Terribly sorry. Tell you what, here's your money back. Here's a little extra dough for the inconvenience. We're going to make you whole, and we're going to replenish you, right? Sorry for the inconvenience. Please don't leave us. Please, valued customer, please don't leave us. I'm sorry about that. We will take measures to make sure that this doesn't happen again, but if it does happen again in the future, we will correct our course again at that time. But no, that is not what happened. Coinbase came out and they pointed the finger at one of the largest financial institutions in the world, Visa. And here's what Visa had to say in return. Visa has not made any system changes that would result in the duplicate transactions cardholders are reporting, a Visa spokesperson said. We are also not aware of any other merchants who are experiencing this issue. Now let me explain something. That is a very professional, well-spoken, articulate person saying, you people that are with Coinbase are dealing with a bunch of unprofessional people. That's what that is code for. When they say we are also not aware of any other merchants who are experiencing this issue, you know what that means? It means it's just Coinbase. This isn't happening anywhere else. It is your company. It is their fault. Now again, keep in mind, Visa does not address the public. They're busy, right? Those are busy people over there, and they don't have time to be the press secretary for their clients, for their merchants. That's not their function. So when they come out and get up on the microphone, start jibbering, jabbing, well, that's big news. Big news, everyone. And see, here's where it gets awesome. It says in the article, earlier this month, Coinbase users began reporting that they'd been overcharged, sometimes by as much as 50 times their original purchase. 50. That's to the moon, people. If you put your money on a coin and it went up 50 times, you've gone to the moon. All right? But instead, these people did not go to the moon. They went to hell, the other direction. 50 times their original purchase for transactions made through the popular cryptocurrency brokerage platform. Affected customers, see here, listen to this is important. Affected customers reported being saddled with a litany of overdraft fees, okay, so that's their bank, a litany of overdraft fees in addition to an inability to pay their rent and utility bills, right? Now we're down to the bone and sinew. We're down in the dirty mess of mankind, right? The actual people. This is the market. They are real people. Their name is Mike, also known as Fat Sacks, and their name is Dave, and their name is Todd Milligan, and their name is Pete Dobson. You know what I mean? Like, it's people. And so Coinbase acted unprofessionally in that, like they did something wrong. And because they did something wrong, in the manner that they did, people's bank accounts were overdrawn because that's like the bank, they have to do. Like if you overdraft, you're getting overdraft fees, and you can get those resolved. You can have them reversed, but man, it takes work. And you don't have time for that. You need to get 8 hours sleep. You need to go to work for 8 hours. You probably have a 2-hour commute round trip. Then you got your kids. You got dance recite. You know what I mean? Like you got all this. You got stuff you got to do, man. A lot of times people don't even find out that they've been overdrafted until the end of the month when they get their statement. So boom, all of a sudden these people, regular people, they're just trying to participate in the cryptocurrency market, hoping to better their situation in life. They go to pay their rent. They go to pay their electricity that they need to keep their house warm. And their card gets declined. What do you mean my card's declined? I've got money. What are you talking about? Sorry, sir. You're going to have to sort that out with your bank if you want your electricity on. People, right? Bone and blood. People. So what does this mean? Like, what can we take from this metaphysical concept, right? Because it's not just physical. Like, it's more than physical. It has deep meaning. If you can't pay your bills, like your regular bills, like your electricity and your water, you gotta go buy food, man. You gotta buy gas if you want to get to work. Like, that's real. And if all of a sudden you can't do that because some idiot didn't build in infrastructure into their company, and you get blindsided by that, it's okay, that's gonna cause depression. It's gonna cause anxiety, fear. See what I'm saying? Like, that's meta. It's meta. And what can we take from this and put into our crystal ball, or our magic 8 ball rather, and look into the future and see what's going to happen? What can we take from that? Well, my money's on Coinbase. Now has a bunch of customers that are just biding their time, waiting for Robinhood to open up, because Robinhood has had a trading platform on stocks for years and years and years and years and years. Those people know what they're doing a hell of a lot more than Coinbase. I don't know that for a fact because I've never done business with Robinhood, but I do know that they've been trading stocks for a long time on the interwebs, right? So you would think that they have some sort of infrastructure and that they are in good standing with the SEC and the NFA and the CFTC and all the other regulatory agencies that oversee that sort of thing. You would assume that they are in good standing with those people and nobody's ever leveled a charge at them of insider trading, right? And nobody's ever leveled a charge at them. Like, dude, like you had one job, you had a merchant service with Visa and you screwed that up. All you had to do was do what Visa told you to do. You think those people don't know what to do when they show up and introduce a new merchant? They have stacks of books and regulations that they come through and say, listen, if you just do it this way, you will stay in right standing with us. And you will continue to be able to process the credit cards and the debit cards of your customers. All you have to do is do this. And they couldn't do it. And now look, in this article, this is what I'm saying. Here's an article within the article. So the article, if you want to read it on Cryptocurrency News, says Visa, we're not to blame for Coinbase overcharges. There's a communication and it kind of looks like a Twitter communication, but customer Chip Ramos, looks like at BitChip315, wrote, Coinbase, you have double charged my accounts. Fix this ASAP. All caps. ASAP. I know millions of customers are affected. Not acceptable! Exclamation point. Yeah, Chip Ramos, at BitChip315. Correct. That is unacceptable. You are well within your rights and anger, and the rights that your anger provides you to say that. Now, here's Coinbase's response. You can see it for yourself. This is awesome. Coinbase replies, apparently almost immediately, this was Visa and your bank/card issuer. We are working to have all of these charges automatically reversed. Okay, well, if it was your bank and Visa, then it's out of your hands, Coinbase. You can't reverse charges if it's not you doing it. And then somebody else chimes in. This is Casey Arakari. This is all in the same conversation. Casey Arakari. He says, or she, these aren't fees. They are duplicate charges of previous purchases. We are being double charged by Coinbase, in all caps. You are the party receiving the funds, so fix the issue and return your customers' hard-earned money and compensate accordingly. Okay, so these are people that are trying to articulate their position, but they're having a hard time because their teeth are glued together in anger. Coinbase. And Coinbase responds to Casey, K-A-S-E-I, Arukari. Coinbase replies to Casey Arakari, listen, the double charges are Visa, they will be reversed, okay? So instead of taking the high road, right? And the high road is always the best way to go. Honesty, which is a metaphysical concept. Honesty is always the best policy. Just admit it. Just say you screwed up. Right? Everyone will forgive you. And then we can go about doing business. And you can get better as a company. And I can get better as a human being, knowing that my faith is restored in humanity, knowing that when people screw up, even to this day, they still admit it and say they're sorry. But no. They turned it back on Visa. And Visa, after being poked, right, the giant that is Visa was awakened by Coinbase, and they came out, grabbed a microphone, and said, listen, all of you Coinbase customers, you are dealing with unprofessional people. You think this was our fault? We've been doing business for 5 decades. We know what we're doing over here. We do it every day. Every single day, every single year, for decades. Your company screwed you, and we are not going to let them stand there and say that it was us. We are Visa, and we have your back. Go look at your card right now. You see how your name is on it? Well, look just to the left there. That's our name. Your name and our name are together on a card. That's kind of like a marriage, right? We've got your back, dear customer. That's how you do it. That's what integrity entitles you to. When you run your company with integrity and you do it honestly and you let people know what the terms are going into it. I know that if I'm with Visa, I know that if I screw up, I got to pay for it. But I also know that if somebody else screws up, they've got my back, right? Because the terms are known. And that kind of business practice is solid business practice. It gives you authority. And Visa has now used that authority, which they richly deserve, to come out and stomp on Coinbase. So, one last time, what can we divine from the future from this happening? And from the happening on December 22nd, well, 21st, but in late December, when they were accused of insider trading. Well, we can clearly divine that, well, these are people who don't know what they're doing, which by itself isn't so bad, but now we know that they will make excuses and they will hem and haw when they are called out onto the carpet for their screw-ups. That they won't be grown-ups about it. They won't have integrity. And whether you're, a postmodernist, neo-Marxist, and you think the truth is relative and, whatever, I'm an atheist and I'm mad at my dad. You know what I mean? Like, if that's you, you still know deep down in your soul, that soul that you allegedly don't have, you know there is a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And not owning up to your crap is the wrong way to go about it because it turns people off. So Coinbase, I do not see good things in the future for them, right? Because now everybody knows. Now everybody knows if anything goes wrong in the future, if it happens again, the first thing they're going to get from their merchant is excuses. Nobody wants excuses, right? My prediction, Robinhood's going to have a very good year. But enough of that. See, it bothers me. Like, that sort of thing bothers me. Just say you're sorry. I mean, be sorry, Like, be sorry, and then say you're sorry. And let the person that you offended know, like, hey, I'm sorry. There was this guy once, a long time ago, Jewish guy, and he said, if somebody accuses you of something, you need to, you need to agree with that person, or you need to resolve that issue the moment that they accuse you of something. You need to find out what the accusation is and resolve it immediately. Because if you don't, you're going to go to court, right? And then it gets ugly. And once you enter court, baby, there's no turning back. Whatever happens, happens, and the damage will be done, and it will be permanent, and it will be law. Agree with thine adversary quickly whilst you are still in the way. Right? Jewish guy said that 2,000 years ago. He was a particularly famous Jewish man. Perhaps you've heard of him. But that's what you do. That's why those words were said. That's why those words were recorded and passed down for 2 millennia. It was important. When you screw up, just find out what you did, right? And be open to the idea that you screwed up. And if it is made clear to you that you screwed up, then be sorry and say you're sorry. And then take measures to make sure you never do that again. Because none of us have it figured out. There is not a single soul living on this planet right now who has it all figured out. And beware of the people who do, who claim that they do. I've seen them. I've seen them my whole life. Right? As a follower of Jesus Christ, I have some very harsh things to say about religious leaderships, circles. I've seen it. People get a microphone in their hand and a stage to stand on, and boy, all of a sudden they're infallible. I've seen it. I've seen the destruction that comes from it. That inability to admit, like, dude, you're flawed. I'm flawed. I don't have all the answers. I don't have it all figured out. And if you and I can join forces together in our inability to have it all figured out, we could probably help each other to get that much closer to figuring things out. Right? It's profound in its strength, and it's profound in its simplicity. Just get together and talk to people. Just get together and talk to people and figure stuff out together. So my judgment on Coinbase, they are very unsorted. They are unsorted and they need to go clean their room and become part of the Bucko Nation. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the wise teachings of one Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who recently wrote a book, 12 Rules for Life, an Antidote for Chaos. This is chaos. These are people who have not sorted themselves out. These are people who are not impeccable with their word. These are people who do not have a clean room. They have not rescued their father from the belly of the beast. Right? These are unsorted people. And if you want to be a sorted person, you want to sort yourself out, you need to read 12 Rules for Life, an Antidote to Chaos by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who I am dangerously close to sicking the crypto creeps on him to try to get him on the show. You guys listen, let's talk on Telegram, and we'll put together a little campaign to see if we can get the good doctor on the show. He's very generous with his time, but as the more famous he gets, the more stingy he's going to have to become. And so let's see if there's even a sliver of a chance that maybe he can come on the show and talk to us about how his profession or his outlook on life and his area of mastery and expertise could perhaps help us keep a more sound mind as we trade these crazy markets with all these crazy happenings. What do you think? Anyways, his book is on my website, archadvocate.com. Arch Advocate. That's the opposite of arch nemesis. Remember, like the Joker was the arch nemesis of Batman? Okay, well, Arch Advocate is the opposite of that. Arch Advocate means I'm your biggest fan. So thanks for listening to the show. Please hit share. Share it to your Twitter feed. Share it on your other Telegram pages. Share it, man. It's free. We can all share it. Hit like. Come on to the YouTube show if you would. Give those things a view so that I can get those numbers up. Start trying to get me some of that YouTube money, yo. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one.